again. That's it. I'm done. I'm done with the fence line. I'm done with it. It's my last job. I am finished with this machine. Good morning. Welcome to a freezing cold TriStar digging East Tennessee morning. It is 18 degrees this morning and I am freezing to death. I got my Canada brush control shirt on, hoodie that I got from Grant up in Canada. So Grant, I appreciate that. That's going to come in handy this winter for sure. So I appreciate it. And we've got several little things to do this morning. Well, really just one thing to do this morning, and that's to do a little bit of repair on the flail mower before I get started. I'm at a job that I've been on for, well, off and on for 2 or 3 days because I've had difficulties here at this job site with this mower. What a frustrating turn of events. A job that should have taken 2 days is drug out for a pretty good while now. We'll get some parts here. We'll walk down to the Cat 304 there. We'll get it fired up, and then we'll start working on this tooth, get it replaced, and talk about some of the things that have happened to me on this job site here. Made it down here to the machine now. Let's show you that tooth right quick, and it is right here. And this is the second one that I broke, and here's the first one I replaced. And there's a good bit of difference between the teeth that came on it and the replacement teeth that I bought. I bought this from a different company, and this is a lot heavier tooth, and it's a lot more heavy duty than appears to be these that came on it from the factory. Matter of fact, that bolt right there is loose. That thing's gonna come off. I guess I need to check. Wow. Anyway, let's get this machine started up here and get it warming up because it is freezing cold out here this morning. And I think it'll fire right up. It always has. This is a pretty dependable little machine right here. Oh, gosh, it's cold in here. All right, that fired right up. Let's get back out here and look at this tooth and see what we're gonna do to get it replaced and talk about this thing. And as I mentioned, this is the replacement tooth, and it is a lot thicker, and it's got a really good, I don't know what you'd call that right there, but it's the center part of it that makes it a lot stronger. It's just a lot heavier tooth than what's on here. If you look at this factory tooth, it's got this hollow part here in the back, which obviously weakens it, and then it got very little of that ridge right here in the center to strengthen this tooth. I don't know, I just put a cheap tooth on it, I suppose. The saga has gotten worse from the last video you saw. You know, in the last video I talked about the warranty issue. They didn't want a warranty because I bought it from a third-party company, and they didn't want to warranty the part that broke on it. Also the service, and it ended up taking 8 weeks to get that seal for that hydraulic motor from them after I'd ordered it. That's a problem. And then here we are with 15 hours or less, maybe a little less than 15 hours on it. I've blown 2 hydraulic seals in the motor, and this is the second tooth that I've had to replace. And I haven't hit any rock with it, no rock or no metal. It's just when I was cutting wood, these 2 teeth have snapped on this job, have snapped off. I took this job when the seal was bad, and I knew I had a seal on the way. I actually got that one from Napa. Got this job lined up. I got that seal replaced. I came up here, and I mowed about 2.5 hours, snapped that tooth. I didn't have any replacement teeth, so I had to order some from another dealer, not this company. And those came in, and I got that tooth replaced. I came back up here. I mowed for about 10 minutes, literally 10 minutes, and then that seal blew out, the second one. So, oh my goodness. I got the machine loaded back up and took it home, got the original seal from the company, the manufacturer. I put it back in here, and then I came back up to this job site and mowed for about 3.5, 4 hours, I guess. And right at the end of the day, I snapped another tooth. So, all right, I'm through venting. Let's get this tooth replaced here and get back to work and see if we can get this job finished. Honestly, I don't know if we'll get this job finished or not. We're gonna try. I will say that I am very pleased with what this mower is capable of doing as far as the job that it does. Very pleased with that. But it's just the drama. It's just all the problems that I'm having with it, and it's very frustrating. This is a really simple process to change this tooth out. And I ordered those teeth. I ordered 5 in a set, and they were about 70, I think they're like $75. That's what they cost for 5. There's 14, I think there's 14 teeth on this drum. So really, it would, you know, it costs a little bit of money to replace all of them, but I think it's probably the wise thing to do. That's all there is to it. One bolt. That thing pops right off like that right there, and then we'll just throw the new one on it. Simple as that. Just a little time and a little money. Back in business. Oh, wait a minute, we got a problem. We got a bad problem. That bolt will not go through there. Well, it did from one side. Why won't it go in from the other side? There it goes. It had a little bit of burr. Had a little burr keeping it going through there. Thought we had a major problem again. All right, we'll get this thing tightened up here. What I need to do is take a minute here and tighten all these bolts. That one's loose, and several of those bolts are loose. We'll get those tightened up all the way around that one. That one's tight. Because that's a bad deal. Those could come off and no telling where they would go. And that's a good point. When that tooth broke off, I didn't hear it, and I certainly didn't see it. But it sure snapped that off. I got those teeth tightened up, and I had to get rid of that TriStar digging hat and put these hoodies on. My ears was getting cold. It's pretty rough out here this morning. I want to show you that seal. If you didn't see that other video, I want to show you that location, that seal that blew out the other day. And that seal is right in the end of this. There's a shaft that comes out of this hydraulic motor and goes into this little gear system here that pulls the belt in there that turns the drum. Well, around that shaft that's in here, there's a oil seal that keeps oil from this motor shooting out through there. That's, like as I mentioned, that's blown out twice, and that's been a real problem for me. But I've checked for kinks along through there on the case drain, and that's what this line right here is, a case drain. It comes out of the back of the motor, which is right here. These are the supply lines here and here, and then this case drain relieves pressure from this motor. Hopefully that it doesn't blow seals, but for some reason that has happened, you know, as I mentioned, twice. This old cat is a grunting and a groaning this morning. It's the cold, getting this thing warmed up here. As cold as that metal is on those teeth, I'm really concerned about breaking more of those things today. I've got 3 more. Hopefully I won't need them on this job anyway. We're just weaving and bobbing our way through these trees to get down to the fence line, where I'm trying to get the bulk of this work done on this fence line, because that is really grown up. That's where I broke both of these teeth at. One other thing I'm going to do today is there's a fella called me that lives just around the corner from this property. He wants me to look at pricing a small driveway and a pad for a shop, so we'll go look at that at some point today. We find a break, maybe this evening when we get done, or maybe at lunch, I don't know. The fence line that we're coming up to, you see that field, it was really overgrown, and you'll see up here when we get to the part where we're going to start. But now then they can see through the woods there and into that field, and that's what they wanted to see along through here now, what I'm able to knock down. And we're not trying to clean it up slick all the way to the ground. They just wanted the material knocked down, and then he's going to come through here and pick up, saw up some of the bigger stuff and get it out of the way. But they just wanted, like I said, wanted to be able to see through here. We are pulling up now to where we're going to get started, and we'll get out here and take a look at a few things. While I was coming down through here, I found my toboggan from Vermont Outdoor Services. That's my buddy Hugh, got a YouTube channel called VT Outdoor Services, so check him out. Hugh, I appreciate the hat, buddy, because I need it this morning. One of the challenges that we have in this job is an old fence line, barbed wire fence that runs along this area right here, and he marked all the fence posts for me with an orange ribbon, but I've knocked that one down. But the problem is, let me try to find some, is that it was so grown up that he, as a matter of fact, I think I just tripped over it. I did, exactly, sure did. It's so grown up that he wasn't able to get the barbed wire pulled out of the fence line. So there's pieces of barbed wire like this right here laying all up through here, and what he did was just cut it ever so many feet or whatever and just let it fall down on the ground. I guess he's gonna clean it up later at some point after we get all this done. The problem is I've got to be real careful coming along this fence line, because if one tooth grabs just a piece of that, it's wrapped around the drum. There is no doubt we're going to be doing that several times today. But it's been a little bit of a frustrating deal there, getting wrapped up with barbed wire. But that goes with the territory when you're doing a job like this on an old fence line. It's just going to happen. It just wasn't possible to get all that barbed wire out of there. Got continuous flow turned on there. We're ready to get this thing wound up, get this job underway. The other day when I put that one new tooth on it, because it was such a different size tooth, not tremendously different, but a good bit different than what was on it, there was a lot of vibration in the head of the mower just because of different weight difference. I don't know what we got going on here. What in the world is happening this morning? Now, it wasn't wound up all the way for some reason. But one thing that I've noticed already this morning is that vibration is a little bit less, and it may be because I've counterbalanced that a little bit with that other new tooth that I put on there. But I do plan on changing all those teeth so they'll all be the same, and probably won't have to worry about them breaking as much either. I'm just going to kind of take it light for a few minutes, get that hydraulic oil warmed up good, and get those teeth warmed up so they won't be as brittle. Actually, I may have spoke too soon. That vibration is pretty rough. Oh well. Let's keep going after it. I do like the results that I'm getting though with a machine like this. On this size, the machine is Cat 304. I'd always wondered if I could get a mower like this and it be able to handle it. But I can reach all the way out to the side, maybe you can see. So I'm actually on a little bit of a side of a hill and I'm fully extended all the way out to the side there, and it doesn't tip at all. It is very well balanced. And does a good job as long as it stays running on cutting this stuff down. I got into a couple cedar trees there, and man, those things smell good. When you start cutting those down, wow, the fragrance from that is pretty nice, and it actually reminds you of Christmas when you start smelling at them live Christmas trees. And in fact, it's December 4th today, 2024, and Christmas is not too far away. Actually 21 days and Christmas will be here. Now where a mulcher will excel over this thing is what I'm cutting on right now. It does an okay job grinding this up, this dead cedar tree. But now a mulcher would do an outstanding job for that. And I'm just doing that just to show you what this will do. That's not what he's asked me to do on this job, right? So I'm just going to do that as a test, and just to let you know it will do it. But it does take a minute. Got that little pile right there cleaned up. I'm going to set you up on the other side of this little mess right here that I'm working on. We're going to go time-lapse style, and we're going to get this little part knocked out. First mess wrapped around the drum of this machine. I went ahead and shut it off because this one going to take just a minute to get it out. Oh my goodness, what a mess this one was. I didn't even see it Sometimes I can see it laying there before I hit it, but not in this time. Look at that. That is nice. That just excites me to have to dig it. Wow. Let me get the tripod set up and let's get this stuff cut out of there. All right, here we go. And this might be a good time to mention that I generally do these jobs by the hour or by the day, so to say. And this is why. Sometimes you get wrapped up in this stuff right here. It could take you 30, 45 minutes, sometimes even an hour to get this untangled. And this is not the fault of the guy doing the job, and not necessarily the fault of the owner either, because it's just something that can't be helped, I suppose, unless you spent a whole lot of time or spend a whole lot of money having somebody come through here and get all the barbed wire out, which I guess some people might want to try to do. But in this situation, it's there, we got to deal with it, and it's just when you get wrapped up, you got to get it cut out. But if you do this job, bid this job, if you don't factor this stuff in ahead of time, then you can be left holding the bag on several hours worth of work because of this stuff right here. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Everybody does it different, but that's just the way I look at it. It's actually coming out a little better than I thought it was going to. I really should have this thing on the ground. I normally do that. I should have it on the ground digging it out instead of having it up in the air like that. But I didn't this time. Oh, there we go. What a mess. There we go, it's off. Get this stuff picked up, put it up here by this tree. Now we've got more problems. Got to work there. Hearing an awful sound going on underneath the drum, and let me turn it on and you can hear it. You hear that clanking sound? Well, what's happened now, I've got this thing down on the ground, it's safer to get under it, is there is a weld that's broke on this little shredder deal right up in here, and it's twisted around and it's hitting a tooth. So I guess what I've got to do is go up there and get the grinder, bring it back and cut that little section off right there, because if I just bend it back around, it's just going to fold back up and do the same thing. So I just get the grinder, cut that little piece off right there. I'll tell you right now, the drama with this machine, this is a gift that keeps on giving. Man, I don't even know. Gosh. Anyway, let's get it fixed and we'll get back to work. Actually what I did is I used my pliers and my hammer here. I've got that thing bent down around now out of the way. And then the back side of this makes a good hammer. So I just beat that down in there. And now that I'm rolling that tooth around to make sure I've got clearance and I can keep working. That's a good 3/4 of an inch away from that shredder piece in there now. Maybe it'll stay, I don't know. We'll keep working at it and see if I can keep going. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but the problem with that, the reason that broke is there's one little bitty spot weld right there. I mean, just a dab of weld to hold that piece in place. That's just poor. That should have had a better weld on it. Not good. I had a tree limb hit the tripod and knocked the wireless mic off. It's laying here somewhere. Oh my goodness. Let's see. take a few minutes here and see. Oh, there it is. I see it right now. Boy, I want you to look. That was just a blessing and luck to find y'all right down in there. That was a close call. That's $110, $15 what that is. So I was too close, cutting that right there. Learned my lesson. Let's get back out of here and work on something else. Let's walk up the edge of the wood line here, and I'll show you how much farther I've got. I don't have a whole lot more of this big stuff to go. Obviously I'm right there, and then we've got to go up here to where it's already been thinned out by the neighbor on their side of the property, which is right around the corner here. Yep, right there. Yeah, they got that looking really nice on their side going down through there. Pretty good deal. And the property line is right in through there. So we don't have much. Get that knocked out and we'll get started on something else. Here we go again, same dance, different song. I got into some more barbed wire, and it might be a little worse than the last time. That's a pretty good bee's nest right there. I gotta get this stuff cut off, and well, let's stop just for a second, take a look around. I've got pretty much all of the bulk material down, all the way down through there. And this last little corner that we was working on there last, got all that knocked down, and that is looking pretty good. Now then, the plan is, if you can see that greenish stuff up in there, that's privet and bushes that have grown up in amongst the trees. What I'll do is start up one side or the other, just work my way through the woods, clearing all that small stuff. But the big stuff that we were working on, that's really hard on the machine and time consuming, is done. We just got some little stuff now. Get to work on this mess right here, get this cleaned out, and got a few little things knocked down along that fence line as we go down through there. But it won't take long to knock that out. But I may be here for a few minutes getting all this off there. It is a mess. I no more than got that one cleaned out. Worked about 10 more minutes. And then I found a nice little surprise again. I am tangled up again. That's it. I'm done. I'm done with the fence line. That's as good as I'm going to get it. I'm just getting wrapped up too much in the barbed wire that's there. And I'm going to cut this out, and we're going to get started on the other part. Time for the update now, and this is what I'm working on trying to clean up now. There's some little holly bushes, some privet, briars, and just some overgrown stuff right in there. That's really all I like, is just a little patch right in this area right here. All this back through here is pretty much done. I got a lot of that knocked down. There's a little bit around trees and some difficult places that I can't get. But it's looking pretty good back through there. And everything was looking good, and I noticed I was out of fuel, so I decided to go up to the truck to get some fuel. I noticed that there's some oil, some hydraulic oil coming out from the area where when the seal blows, where it comes from. I'm gonna go up to the truck and take that inspection plate off before we get into the belts and see if I got oil actually running out of that bearing area. And then I don't know what I'm gonna do. Let's go up here and look at it and see, and hopefully it's some residual oil left over from the last time, just now making its way out, or it could be that the seal's blown again. We'll go look at it. And while I'm filling up this machine with fuel here, I wanted to mention I've been emailing back and forth with a company. And if you fuel up your machines out of your truck or at your shop and you need some extra hose length, got a pretty good product review and demo coming up. I'm anxious to get those and try them out and share it with you to see how they work out. All right, we got the thing filled up. Let's take a look at what our problem might be. What I noticed was down here on the bottom, and it's already kind of dried up a little bit, but they had oil coming out from this area here, which is typically a sign that that seal of ours is leaking, because it comes through this area into this pulley area where these belts are and right down into there. We'll get this cover off and see what we got. Also, worthy of mention is I noticed this thing was vibrating a while ago, and got to looking at it. It backed out about 2 or 3 inches. And the nuts have come off on this side. So now I got to find nuts to go on this shaft here to keep that from backing out. And that rod, what it does is keeps these little guards on. The issues just keep adding up with this machine. I don't know. Let's check this belt area and see what we've got. Yep, that's exactly what's happened. I guess a lot of the oil, instead of coming out the way that I've seen it, was going to the inside of the machine and I wasn't seeing it coming out. But if you can see that oil coming down around that shaft, and it's just caked in there. Wow. I tell you what, folks, I am done with this machine. I don't mean to get aggravated on the channel, but I am fully frustrated and aggravated with this machine. This is the third time, the third seal that's gone out. 2 blades have broken. That shaft has come out over there. I'm just done with it. I'm gonna take it back to the house and it's gonna be a paperweight, I suppose. I'm not gonna do any more jobs with it. I can't depend on it. It's not reliable to take to a job and try to get the work done. So I'll take it home and eventually put that other seal I got from Nappy in it and just use it around my place to kind of keep things cleaned up. But I'm done with it. It's my last job. I am finished with this machine. You know, and also it's worth mentioning, one might think, well, maybe it's the cat. Maybe the cat's putting too much flow out there or whatever. I've got the pressure turned up. I actually turned the pressure down in the machine today just to try to avoid any excessive pressure going to that. And so I don't believe it's a machine at all, because Mike Miller's, we bought these machines together at the same time. He's been using his on jobs, hasn't had the first seal to blow. He's running it on a Cat 304, just like this one is. We hooked them up on the same day. Well, actually, he hooked his up first, and then I went up and met with him, and we got mine hooked up. Hooked up the exact same way. I don't know. It may be a defect in that motor. The shaft may have a bad, I don't know, but wow. Anyway, let's figure out what they're going to do next. I guess what I'll do is get it put back on the trailer, and what little bit of work I've got left to do, I can do it with a skid steer. It won't be fun because the ground is uneven terrain. It's going to be really rough. But the skid steer will finish up this job. This makes, once I come back with skid steer, be the 4th time I've been here with the machine. 5 times counting the time to come back and look at the estimate. Very frustrating. But anyway, let's get that done, get this loaded up, and I'll come back in the morning and finish that up. What I'm gonna do before I load that machine up is go look at this other job, which is literally what the GPS says, 1 minute away. So we're not too far away. We're over here and take a look at that and see what that job might be about. And just like that, we are here. See if the guys responded back to my text message to see if he can take a call, and we'll get out here and take a look. As long as these dogs are friendly. They look friendly. Well, maybe not. We're backing out and going to another driveway because he texted me back and said the driveway where I'll be going to is out of the range of this dog's collar. So that's a good thing. I'm glad I didn't get out. Where we're going is right down there by that camper, and we'll pull in there, and apparently the dog can't get me down there. He's running this way. That worked. The dog can't get to me, and I see the pad here he started. Let's take a look down here at what he's got and see what we need to do to fix it. He said he'd already started a pad here and done a pretty good job, especially with the tractor so far, to get that dug out. But I think he said he's going to change the size of it or whatever. But anyway, we'll get him on the phone, talk to him just for a minute here, and then I'll be back and we'll talk about what this needs. Okay, I'm back and I talked to Chris, and what we're trying to do here is accomplish a pad for a metal building, pole barn kind of building. And what we're looking at is he's needing 24 wide and 24 long for the actual building. So that means we got to make the pad a little bit bigger than that. Right now, the pad from right here over to right there is 22 feet. And from right here over to that other side, straight into the bank there, is 30 feet. So we got plenty of length, that's fine. We just need to go depth-wise, we need to go back a little bit longer. So this is 22, it needs to be at least, I say at least 30. That would be 6 feet. Give 2 foot on this side, 4 feet on that side, and we may need to go back a little bit farther so we can get the drainage fixed right, go around that back side. Not a big deal, take a day's work to get this thing finished off and get it on grade. It's a little bit low in this corner, probably 6-8 inches low in this corner opposed to that corner up there. Nothing we can't figure out pretty quickly and get it squared away. I'll get this worked up in a price and get back with Chris and price it to him. And he also wants to put 4 inches of rock on it. I guess we'll probably use a 57 or crusher run on that. So I'll factor that into the price as well and get back with him. If we get the job, we'll be back here at some point and we'll get it done. Well, it's the next day. I made it home all right last night. This morning, I went back with a skid steer and the brush cutter in front of it. Got that property cleaned up good, looks nice. They also had me build a little access road. I had more or less a trail down through there to get a vehicle down in those woods. Took me about 2 hours to finish up this morning, so everything turned out real nice with the job. Glad to get that one finished. Well, that was a job and a half. On the way home yesterday, I got to thinking about the Cat 304 here and that issue with that seal. And what I want to check here today at the end of this video is to make sure that the case drain that runs from the motor, the back of the hydraulic motor, to the machine, just make sure that's not blocked. And what my thought is to see if there is a gravity flow out of that tank down here to the machine. And what I mean by that is that from the back of the hydraulic motor here, this is the case drain line. That's hooked into there, and the other end of it is hooked into the reservoir tank, the hydraulic reservoir tank on the machine. So the way that I've got it set up here on top of the retaining wall is that when I take this case drain loose from the back of the motor here, we ought to get gravity flow of hydraulic fluid from all the way up there from that tank. And that will tell me if there's anything restricting or obstructing that flow back to the tank from that hydraulic motor once it builds pressure. That's my thought anyway. So that's the first place I'm going to check. So let's get this line popped off here and see if we got any oil coming out of it. I am hoping what I just said happens. I hope there's oil coming out of here. And there is oil coming out of that. So what that tells me is that there is no obstructions in this case drain line all the way back to that reservoir. We should have gravity flow and also siphon, and we do have that. Let me get the camera off the stand here and let me get the line down here on the bottom. And what we have is a good steady flow of oil coming out of that line. And if you can see the end of that line right there, it's running completely full. That's a really small line, and it does look like a small stream, but that's because that's a small hose. It is actually running full right there. That's a good sign. One other thing I thought of to check right quick is put some air pressure on this side of the line, which goes in the hydraulic motor, and blow air back into the tank and see if I can hear air coming back into that reservoir up there. And I do. I hear a lot of air going back up into that reservoir. So that is a no-brainer right there. That thing is not stopped up. Just for giggles, I'm gonna go up there and pressurize the tank, put some air pressure on it, and we should see a good hard stream of oil coming out of that right there. Okay, here we go. We're gonna put some air pressure on it. There we go. That's a good steady stream right there. Now then, let's get the line put back on there because Cat is pretty partial to this oil. They like it. It's kind of expensive. We'll get this put back on there, and that takes care of the test. I mean, there's no obstructions in that line. There's no kinks, no blockages. The only thing it can be is that motor. What I'm going to do here in a few days is take this backside off and see if there's anything that's blocking hydraulic oil from coming into this hydraulic case drain here. There may be some kind of a blockage inside internally, I don't know, but I'll take that apart and check that and see what I can find in there. Well, that's it for now. I'll do that and give you an update in a future video. So I appreciate you watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Stick around for the message if you will, and God bless. Thank you. I appreciate you sticking around for the message. And in the video here, you saw my frustrations, and I was pretty upset. And and still am, about this flail mower here. Got a lot of money invested in that, and basically, as I said in the video, it's a paperweight at the moment till I can figure out what's wrong with it. And I know there's no warranty on it because of the issues I had in the past dealing with them over the customer service. So it's very frustrating that I've got this and it doesn't work. You know, there are a lot of situations in life that we get frustrated about, and this is something minor. It's just a simple issue with a piece of equipment not working, and sometimes I let that get the best of me, but I think we all do, and it's pretty frustrating to say the least. But this is minimal compared to a lot of the situations going on in life today, in your life and in my life and the life of other people we know. I have certainly faced some really difficult frustrations, really difficult times in my life, and I've always looked to God for help and support and encouragement and His grace and His purpose in my life to see me through those things. And I know that there are some people watching this video even that you have been, you're currently in, or you're going to be facing some frustrations, some real frustrations in life. And we need to know how to deal with those things. And in fact, I've got a good friend, his first name's Larry. Today is December the 5th. He's looking at a really serious open heart surgery next week on Tuesday. So I would appreciate if you pray for him. Lift him up in your prayers and thoughts, and I know that his family would appreciate that. He's got to have a heart valve replacement, which means they got to go in there and completely replace a valve in his heart. Having issues with that. Also got a bacterial infection that's around his heart, actually on that valve they need to replace, and some kidney issues that need to be resolved as well. A lot of things going on in this man's life, and he truly is in times where he needs the encouragement and the strength from Christians and from the Lord. And I pray that for him, and I hope you will as well. And the passage of scripture that I want to look at, we find in Philippians chapter 4, and it starts about verse 5, and it says this. It says, listen at this closely. Listen at what the promise that we have from God, that He's offering us through His Word. And let me say this, if we can, and I've said this before on the channel, but it's worth saying again, and it's worth saying often, if we can trust God with our salvation, if we can trust God with our eternal soul, our spirit, then we can truly trust Him with anything else in this world. Now listen to what these words say in Philippians chapter 4, starting verse 5. Actually, verse 4. Rejoice in the Lord always. I say again, rejoice. Let your graciousness be known to everyone. The Lord is near. Don't worry about anything, but in everything through prayer and petition with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. I want to speak about that here in just a minute. In verse 7 says, and the peace of God, which surpasses every thought, will guard your hearts and your mind in Christ Jesus. And in that part that I just said I wanted to talk about, it says, don't worry about anything, but in everything through prayer and petition with thanksgiving, let your request be made known to God. Listen to what it says. The prerequisites for asking God and asking God about the things in our life. It says that we are to be in prayer and petition, and we are to do this with thanksgiving, trusting and knowing that God is looking after us, knowing that God is going to take control of the situations in our life. And then we find our comfort and peace in verse 7, and it says, the peace of God, which surpasses every thought, will guard your hearts and your mind in Christ Jesus. We find a lot of comfort and we find a lot of encouragement in those verses. And I pray that if someone is watching this video, or if you know someone that is, that you can point them in the direction of Philippians chapter 4, these verses that I read, to find encouragement and strength, because we can only have that through Jesus Christ. If you don't know Jesus as your Lord and Savior, that's the most important decision you can ever make in your life, is to place your faith and trust in Him. And then those scriptures can apply to your life. Apart from Jesus Christ, that does not apply to your life. This belongs to the believers. This belongs to the people who believe in Jesus Christ and know that God is their Lord. So I pray that you would do that. I pray that you'd place your faith and trust in Him. Know Him today. Know Him in a way that you have confidence and assurance that He's always with you. So God bless you, and I appreciate you watching.